Good morning, guys. Vinnie Mirchandani here, getting up a little early to talk to Peter Maier in Germany. Peter Maier is president of industries at SAP. So we're going to have a lot of interesting conversations on acrobatics he's been seeing in his customer base around the world. Peter, welcome. Tell us a little bit about yourself and a little bit about the industries group at SAP.
Yeah, thank you so much, Vinnie. I first of all want to thank you for having me. It's really nice to be with you today. I have had a hard time to adjust because I like to work with people directly, like yourself, so ideally face to face, but I am coping. Yeah, to myself, my name is Peter Maier, in charge at SAP for the industries, also for the customers and advisory organization. You know, I'm close to 30 years next year with SAP, so I learned over the time now a lot of industries, but also in a lot of contacts with customers directly, but as well with our partners and the analysts, because I feel that's really important. My organization is in charge, basically setting the strategy where the industry is going, because I only feel if you know where the industry is going, you can design the products in the right way, and then also present and demo the solutions in the appropriate way. And as you know, Vinnie, most of the customers or everybody in the meantime, it's all about outcome based, so they would like to see the value. So that's my organization, basically helping our partners and SAP organization, but on the other hand, also give them the feedback to the engineering colleagues. What works, what does not work. It's pretty exciting, the role, a fascinating role, I have to say.
Well, only recommendation I would have is don't waste time with the analysts. They don't know much. So, Peter, let's start off. You and I can have a very jovial conversation all the time, but let's talk a little bit about how is the SAP organization coping in this COVID crisis. You know, you're such a global organization. I'm sure in New York, for example, is a big hotspot. How is SAP doing? How is your employee base doing through this crisis?
Yeah, actually, as I said, you know, I'm already longer in the industry. From my point of view, what is completely different this time, I think, you know, when you go through such a situation, it was always customer first, customer first, customer first, right? This time it was different from my point of view, Vinnie. It was all about, first of all, it was about the employees. And I think that's the big difference on this piece. And basically, I think it's really a great advantage to work virtually. And our people are really doing, from that point of view, overall a great job. We take care of our employees as managers in particular, because it's really key that we are making it as a practice, so that we also contact the employees directly, how they feel, and they are not feeling isolated. I basically also have to say that the COVID task force, by the way, we have established a global pandemic task force already on, I think it was January 27th. At this point in time, I think, yeah, it was basically a starting point in Asia. Then actually that organization basically took and communicated to the employees very continuously in our corporate portal what is going on, and that actually started on the 28th of January, as I said. I think the key point from my point of view was it is not one fits all, right? So we basically, our key target would be that we actually can all, close to 100,000 people are working now remotely, I would say, except the mission critical people who are basically working day in, day out on the operation side with the customers. But I would say 90+ percent of our people are right now working from home. We have the advantage now that we basically can learn from the different countries and from the different regions. So we basically, as of now, China, for example, is we opened already. the offices. So we basically take now the lessons learned from China, from Asia towards Europe, and then also to the US. I think SAP in general is very well prepared to switch to a nearly 100% remotely delivery. And we also take now the lessons learned we have towards the customers, and also to the consistent framework and how to work from home. But I really, overall, I think we did a great job to manage that around the globe, 7/24.
It's impressive that you started at the end of January. Peter,
Yeah.
Peter, you have a very young CEO, right? Christian, he's very smart, but in a crisis like this, the question is, do you need more senior leadership? And I would think people like Adair, like you, are providing the leadership that is needed in this crisis. Tell us a little bit about how, the SAP depth in leadership has helped during the crisis.
Yeah, I would say, as I said at the beginning, it's all about first taking care of the employees. And I think what we actually do, we have weekly or bi-weekly, depending on the occurrence and on the demand. We have weekly calls with the board, Christian, there, where they basically talk what they hear in the market, what is going on, what are the key questions from the employees, what are the key questions from the customers, what are the key questions from the partners. So I would say communication is one of the key things. So you only know that, right, in case you are very close. And I would say that's also the big change, especially in these days. You need to be super close to your customer. There is no playbook how this will look like, how this new normal will look like. So you need to work very close with the ecosystem, with the customers, how to help them now, how to help them to get out, and how to reimagine how it will look like when you're out there. So what we do, actually very close working with the customer, with the government. As you can imagine, Vinnie, there's a lot of changes now going on, how the health institutes are working together with the economy, who is leading, who is following. So I would say that is the key thing. Stay very close to the employees, stay very close to the customers. I know that sounds so trivial, and we have all heard that, but I think in these days it's even more important, and the frequency is much, much higher. And finally, I would say it is all about how, and also celebrate success with the people. I think you should not just say go on and go on and go on and go on. It's also important to step back and celebrate the success with the people who are working in operations, right? The development colleagues, the sales colleagues, so the different people, also including the partners and the ecosystem. I think that's also another very important aspect which we should not forget in the situation which we are in right now. And it works.
Peter, it is a lot of doom and gloom, right? A lot of people not doing well, but it's also been an amazing time for innovation. I've been calling it acrobatics, right? So
Yeah.
Auto companies jumping in to make medical ventilators, people who make PPE quadrupling their capacity overnight, last mile logistics, phenomenal last mile logistics, all the healthcare heroics, banks making hundreds of billions in emergency loans. I mean, on and on and on, right?
Yes, yes.
You obviously see it across many industries. What have you seen that makes you go, wow, I can't believe that could be done in 2 months or 3 months, or I can't believe they've been able to scale so quickly, either up or down? Tell us some examples from your customers.
Okay. Yeah, very, very glad to do that. So I think you used the time dimension 2 to 3 months, right? I think that is over in that game we are in right now. I give you a few examples, at least what we experience now, which basically was in hours, actually.
Wow.
Yes, yeah. And even for the Germans, right? That's somehow, that is really a revolution. So I give you one great example in that area. We basically have the German Federal Foreign Office, in German we call it the Auswärtige Amt, where basically SAP helped returning the stranded German citizens from abroad, providing really a self-registration portal for the German Office of Foreign Affairs. So we had these people who got stranded outside of Germany. So we literally, really, Jürgen Müller and the whole engineering team, they developed an application actually in 24 hours, where SAP 24 hours, not days, not months, where we basically delivered a cloud-based application. In German it's called a Rückholprogramm application, where we basically took the stranded citizens and where they could register on the application. And also very important, right? It has to be GDPR compliant. And that solution was really built. You can imagine, it has to be scalable. It has to be secure, right? To manage these thousands of registrations, which we literally had in hours. So the solution really can be deployed now also by other countries on request. And I think it was really great to see that. So one very concrete example where we really had to react in hours. And yeah, to be honest, it was really a great success after a few weeks now. I think it was great. So that was one example. The second example, which I wanted to mention, you know, in this time we are in right now, getting close to the people is absolutely essential, as I said earlier. So we basically built and worked together with a state governance, which basically required to screen the residents based on risk and to prioritize who needs to be tested and to route them, etc., to really manage the spread of the virus throughout the state. So we work basically in a big way with US state governments like Iowa, New Jersey, Utah, for example, where the SAP Qualtrics solution in this case helped to provide a statewide assessment of every resident. And I think the data from that point of view automatically got aggregated to inform the key decisions, such as testing centers, deployment of personal protection equipment, etc., which was really a key facet, right? The tracking of the people is one thing. Doing then the reporting is the other, and I would say equally as important, because it doesn't help in case only you have the tracking, right? You need to take action then later on. So that closed loop, and from that point of view, the COVID-19 assessment was originally deployed in Utah and is now being used in Iowa and also at Nebraska. So I think there's a great quote which we got from basically the governor, Pete Richards, from the state of Nebraska, by partnering with Qualtrics to provide really that statewide assessment to every resident was key, and it will be able now, will allow them now to manage the spread of the virus, but also monitor it and save lives, which is perfectly also to our mission, right? How to improve people's life. So another key example. Then I would say another one was what we did now immediately after we got it, and you know, I use some other outside US examples now in Heidelberg here, where we had a lot of where we have a lot of universities, hospitals. So on March 28th, when it hit in Germany, the city of Heidelberg and the area here urgently needed to ramp an emergency service based on a time-consuming manual workload to route emergency transports, right, the patients to clinics and to really to the appropriate capacity. So basically, we developed a very lightweight cloud-based application to manage the capacity and also manage the availability of the different fully functional bed types. And I think that was really key. We managed now the 25 hospitals in 45 wards in Heidelberg, and I think that was really key to manage that as well. So another key example, that was now not hours, that I would say was now in the time frame of 2 weeks. And if you have time, I have another one, and I really like that. It's more from a manufacturing point of view. It's a customer which is a leading manufacturer and supplier of within the automotive industry. So it's an IMNC customer, which is basically they were looking to the process on the digital transformation already before COVID. So it was no longer enough to just sell machines, right? They needed to expand their services and to provide much more options towards the customers. So they created a whole new digital platform using our technology and the expertise of our services organization to implement the solution together with a partner. And they use this platform now very interestingly to deliver new services models in a remote way to the people on site. So you have the people here working in a site, and basically they are providing now these services remotely, which I think is a great way. So they are now able to fully prepare, serve their customer prior to the work. And so this is now a great platform which helps them to also change completely the business model, and considering the COVID situation, so the people can't travel anymore back and forth and getting on site. So that's a great example. And the last one, I felt it's also important to share which comes to my mind. I had that conversation last night, which I think is a company in Spain, which is basically implementing a solution right now from our side. It's an oil company, or it's a Portuguese-based oil company. It's Portugal, not Spain. It's Portugal, yes. And I think it was actually key to with that remote environment where you have the consultants, then you have the project. I think it's amazing, Vinnie, to see how projects get executed and still being delivered in a remote environment. So I have a lot of projects which we are seeing where they are early starting in the design, where really the projects are still on track in a big way. And now they are approaching us again. How can you help us? How testing will be done? How can we do that in a remote environment? And I think so technology will work in a big way different. I feel work will come to us and we will not go to the work. I think that's the big shift I see as well. So these are a few examples.
Peter, that's fantastic. On the last one, I think your slight challenge is going to be, I'm not sure all your partners can make the transition to remote delivery. You know, they're used to traveling, going on site. So you'll probably have to take the lead on that in many customers to do more of the remote delivery. But no, these are great examples. And I'm sure you have others in banking and, you know, other sectors. But let me ask you this. Some of the innovations you've seen, you know, the rapid 24-hour development, whatever, are they starting to make their way into your product, or are they going to be one-off projects? Are you starting to see feature requests from customers based on that? Are they going to become part of your product base?
Absolutely. So yeah, that's a good one. Yeah. I told you we created first that task force from a medical point of view, taking care of the people, right? And then you know, the board gave us a very clear guidance, guys. We need now something to take care on the product side. So actually, there she had and she has a great program called the 1 Billion Lives. And I think we made a big call to our employees also. What are great ideas from our customers, but also inside of SAP? How can we help in this environment? So we established basically a product and a solution focused task force, which basically collected the different requirements. So some come from hospitals, some come from supply chain, some came from all different kind of directions. Obviously, mainly it started on the health side. Now we have created inside SAP only 750 ideas within 1 week, which was amazing, right? So I give you an example. We basically use now in supply chain, for example, right? In supply chain, if we do now the algorithm, supply chain is one of the key patterns which we see. So in supply chain, we basically incorporate now, due to COVID, completely new algorithm based on the different scenarios which we are seeing in the customer base. So that is one example. You always also will see that I think it's we made it official now that we are working in Germany on the tracking app jointly with the German telecom, and also working very closely together with Apple, working together very closely with Google to really make sure that we are having an open environment. It's the first time open source. So definitely we start with the tracking app starting now here in Germany. It has to scale, it has to be secure. So this is one step. Imagine we will also have the opportunity now working with our customers in the manufacturing on the shop floor, how to give these guys guidance, how to track how they move around. And I think we can leverage now these products also greatly moving forward into the portfolio. So it's supply chain analytics, the customer experience definitely will make that as an incubation we start from the product point of view, and part of it, not everything, but key part of it will also make it mainstream to the product. Why? I feel in a big way this will be our new normal. Not everything, but at least for the time being, we definitely would like to share these best practices with the customers. And I think I gave you some example. I see two patterns which I come across in all conversations. Supply chain, how to get much better visibility in the supply chain and how to manage your supply chain. Certain companies even go industries like life science, change the supply chain, do much more closer to them again, where they can serve their customer. So that is one. And the second one, which is in a big way the analytics, Vinnie. We will have much more analytics moving forward in all the different steps which we are doing. So yes, it will have a big impact moving forward in a positive way in our portfolio.
That's great to hear, especially the analytics part. Certainly in the U.S., the modeling has not been very good. We've had very scary models that have not turned out to be true. So I could see a lot of analytical, next generation analytics needed to do a better job. But to your point, every industry is looking at supply chains, right? I mean, the food sector, I don't know how it is in Germany, but in the US, our food supply chain has been massively affected. Obviously, manufacturing with China has been massively affected. So supply chain is clearly a big issue.
Absolutely. It's also interesting, right? Supply chain, sorry to go back to my hospital example. Do you really think supply chain was a key in hospitals moving in the past? No.
I did not, but you look at how much reagents come from China and you realize it's a major bottleneck. Yeah.
Now it's not all about supply chain, but the supply chain is the key. Managing the inventory, right? What is there? When is it coming? When are we ready? So that's a key topic. And you're right, not every industry is different. So not one size fits all, right? So we did an analysis, very clear. Here are the industries. Here is how we see the recovery going on, and here is the impact. Is it impact severe also for us, or is it more light? So definitely, if you look at industries, we need like, I don't know, aerospace or oil and gas or IM&C or whatever, right? Then, or travel, then the impact is more severe, for example, compared to a telco company or compared to a life science company or compared to utility companies as well, right? So I think it's really important for all the customers also to look different. Every customer is different, every industry is different, and also we need to differentiate now from country to country. But we have a lot of lessons learned. So it's all about agility, responsiveness, And also the flexibility. How fast are you able to adapt in your business? You need to borrow the best practices from other industries to offer a new service. It's all about how can we help moving forward our customers to support their business models. I think that is the key thing moving forward. Leverage best practices, borrow it from other industries. Most likely the best practice is not in your industry, comes from somewhere else, right? But you need to be fast to adapt it.
Yep.
And I said it, right? We need to have great examples in days or weeks and not in years. So I see that positive in this whole conversation.
Talking about agility, one of the comments I've heard from several CIOs is their cloud applications made working from home a lot easier than on-premise. Have you heard that? And as a result, do you see change in your customers thinking about the public cloud?
Yeah, definitely. I think in the new situation, I would say, maybe I forgot that. You're right. I talked about supply chain. I talked about analytics. Definitely, we will see due to that, we see definitely an acceleration towards the cloud very clearly, very clear. But I think also there, not one fits all. You really need to look, what is it, right?
Sure.
The key question, is this core for your business? Right now, in most of the industries, in most of the countries, it's about survival. It's about survival. So you need to make sure you offer them something which is core for their business to make money today and also money in the future. So definitely we see that, and therefore, as I said at the beginning, you need to be super close to your customer and really react fast to deliver outcome, because you need to, not only looking at the top line all the time, right? A lot of people are saying top line. No. You need to have both, right? Right now, it's more on the bottom line to really help the companies to survive. And I think that's the key. That's the key right now, where we need to go in from industry to industry. That varies also from country to country. You might say, wasn't that the case all the time? Yes, but now the speed is even accelerated, and we need to be super fast also. And I think that's very important also together with our partners, which are very close to our customers as well.
Peter, so
maybe a couple of examples which I think would be interesting. So I see basically the following: the change of the workforce in the future. I said it. Bring the work to the people, not the people to work. I think that's one of the key things. We will have a lot of enhancing human-machine collaborations, use RPA, robots, etc., to basically make that also relevant in the different businesses. So it's a reskilling of the workforce to really ensure successful navigation in future uncertainties. I would say that's one thing. The next one are the new business models, right? Providing multiple modes of transport through mobility as a service, right? That's completely new. And find alternative revenue sources and subscription-based fees, which is absolutely key in a lot of industries. It's the resiliency of the supply chain, which I talked about, automation of warehouses, etc. And then it's also, I would say, the other area where I feel what is big way changing is also training and education. I feel the training education will change in a big way also post-COVID. So I think these are the...
Oh, definitely. You can see that in higher education. Distance learning is going to be key. But like you point out, in the last few weeks, we've seen contactless delivery, last mile delivery, and all that. Just the technology to support all that has become so important. And yeah.
Absolutely. And I think, you can talk now a lot on the edges, right? Make promises to the customers, right? That's not my point. I think, at least from my point of view, from an SAP's point of view, we need to help our customers that they can keep their promise to their customers. I think that promise to the customer is even more important right now. And it doesn't help me if I have a nice sales solution. I need to really make sure I get the products towards that customer of my customer. And I think that's why I say supply chain is so important again. So it's basically making that promise to that customer, how to get the product or the service delivered. I think that will be absolutely vital to keep the trust, keep the company, keep the customers as yours right now.
And quality too, hygiene.
Quality.
Yeah.
Yes.
Peter, this may be an unfair question because you're so global and you have so many industries, but I've been asking every executive, how do you see the recovery? Do you see a V recovery, rapid rebound? Do you see a U, a gradual recovery? Do you see a W where, some regions will move at different pace, or we may have a flare up somewhere and that'll slow things down? Or is it going to be an L? It's going to be really slow for a long time. Do you have a position? Or is
I think this heavily depends, as I said earlier, on the industry. I think there's not this global, will it be a V or will it be a U? I think overall, yes, obviously I will up into like that, but I really wanted to make sure that we look one level below. The only advice I would say is in what we are doing, we are working, as I said, very early with our customers to really make their recovery, I would call it as V-shaped as possible. I think customers are getting more and more focused on value and want to leverage what others have done, as I said. They need an answer today on the way to get out of the crisis and reimagine what can be done. And I think it's from that point of view, I see it more that it will end up in a V, but only under the condition that we really are working. Also, technology, business, the public needs to come together and do that in a joint way. I feel that it could not be, is it now health or is it the economy? It has to go really hand in hand, and then the more empowerment we can give to the economy, the better it will be. So I think we all hope it will be a V, but it's a big ride ahead of us.
Well, it's good to be optimistic, right? If you had said an L, it would be a lot different to make you an optimist, but you're already an optimist, and so
yes,
it comes down to execution more than thinking optimistically. Peter, final question. What else would you like to share with other executives, either customers or other software executives?
What would I share? Very clear. I would say be open to collaborate. Right. What I said on the Corona IP in Germany, I think it was and is a great collaboration with all the partners who are involved into that, because at the end of the day, that's the only way how we jointly, everybody has its strengths somewhere else. So I think taking aside, stepping back a little bit and focus on the strengths and collaborate with the others, I would say that's number one. We own this to the customer, or we owe this to the customer. It's really my other thing. I think especially in these days, that's what we should do. The collaboration, from my point of view, makes a big win-win for the customers, for the partners, and also for us from an SAP and from a technology point of view overall. And I think it's if I would need to net it out, be open and collaborate. And I think if we do that in the right way, we are able to come out of this in a much faster way than just everybody's protecting his own turf. So that would be my big mantra, and be open to borrow from the others and move on.
Peter, thank you so much. You know, lots of great examples and inspirational, actually. Stay healthy, and thank you again. Look forward to seeing you in person sometime soon.
I want to thank you, Vinnie. Thank you so much for having me. Also, all the best from my side to you. Stay healthy, and I'm looking forward to see you very soon. Okay.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Thank you.